Petition. Recommendations of the Infected Blood Inquiry.
I beg to move that the House do now adjourn.
The question is that this House do now adjourn. Sarah Olney.
Thank you very much, Mr Deputy Speaker, for granting me the opportunity to have a debate on this important issue. Since 2020, Thames Water has dumped over 72 billion litres of raw sewage into rivers in London, polluting our waterways and damaging our natural environments. They have done so whilst accruing billions of pounds of debt, failing increasingly to provide basic services to the nearly 25% of the country they supply, including my constituents in Richmond Park. Yet despite this, Thames Water executives have paid themselves almost £8 billion in bonuses over recent years, lining their pockets, whilst the company they run continues to pollute our rivers and streams. For my constituents in particular, the name Thames Water has understandably become a byword for poor quality, slapdash repair work, damaging environmental practices, and barely concealed contempt for their bill payers. During my time... With pleasure.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker, and I'm very grateful to the Honourable Member for giving way, and may I add that my constituents have suffered quite seriously from similar issues, including interruption to water supply to a large part of Reading recently, and indeed considerable sewage discharges in the river, which sometimes are visible to passers-by who use our bridges and walk by the riverside, which is absolutely outrageous.
I thank the honourable gentleman for his intervention. He's absolutely right about sewage discharges. We've had a recent one in Teddington Lock in my constituency, and it's caused a great deal of distress to local people. During my time as the MP for Richmond Park, I've received dozens of reports of Thames Water's negligence. In 2020, more than 1,200 homes in Richmond were left without central heating or hot water for 5 days when a burst water pipe ingressed the gas network. Last year, a burst water main on the Manor Circus roundabout went unattended for days, delaying the completion of roadworks that were causing chaos in the local area. And my residents in North Kingston have had to make their peace with constant congestion caused by an unending series of emergency repair works, all because this failing water giant cannot get its act together. And this is just a mere snapshot of the chaos that Thames Water causes for my constituents every day. To add insult to injury, Thames Water are now planning to build a pipeline across a nature reserve in my constituency. The controversial Teddington DRA project will allow Thames Water to take water from the Thames and replace it with treated sewage just above Teddington Lock. The pipeline's construction will put a rare and valuable ecosystem under threat and subject my residents in Ham and North Kingston to years of building work. This project is only needed because Thames Water is losing hundreds of millions of litres of water a day through leaks in their system. My constituents are yet again suffering because the company has spent years paying out hundreds of millions of pounds in dividends to shareholders instead of investing in their infrastructure. They have to live with the congestion on the streets, the threat of major construction in their parks, and sewage running through their river. And now they are picking up the tab for Thames Water's total mismanagement of their finances. I was recently contacted by a constituent who has seen his water bill rise by just over 60% between 2020 and 2024. Every year, more and more of my constituents' income is going towards propping up a company that shows an utter disregard for them and their community. It was therefore infuriating to see recent reports in the Financial Times that Thames Water has been lobbying the government and the industry regulator Ofwat to let it increase bills further, pay dividends and face lower fines as it seeks to avoid financial collapse. This is despite Conservative ministers already bending over backwards to avoid cracking down on polluting water companies. It is extraordinary that the country's largest water company could be allowed by this government to give its executives millions in bonuses whilst failing to fulfil its basic function. But that is the situation that has been allowed to occur for far too long. Over the last few weeks, I've therefore been calling on Conservative ministers to publish their contingency plan, Project Timber, as to what they will do if Thames Water goes bust. Yet, frustratingly, my demands have continually been refused, with the response being that it would not be appropriate to publish the plans. This is despite what is now an overwhelming public interest to do so. With the news this week, however, that Thames Water was the only water firm which had refused to contribute to a new £180 million anti-pollution fund, the alarm bells became deafening about their financial status, And when I asked the Prime Minister at PMQs this week if he could confirm that this broken company will still exist by the end of the year, he was unable to answer. And that's why today I stand here to call not only for the publication of Project Timber, but for further, more drastic action to be taken. Last month, the government passed new legislation which allows the High Court to appoint a special administrator to take over a failing water firm. With Thames Water clearly unable to pay its debts, and with this latest refusal to contribute to new investments to combat sewage, I believe the threshold has now been met for the government to take this as a course of action. And that's why I now speak on behalf of the Liberal Democrats in calling on the government to put Thames Water into special administration. Under these new proposals, the taxpayer would not be liable for any debts, and the special administrator could restructure this failing firm into a company for the public benefit. This would ensure no interruption in service for millions of households across the capital and the south of England, whilst allowing the company to be stabilised, no longer relying on its failing board. Further, by enacting these special measures, Thames Water could restart efforts to stop harmful sewage discharges into rivers and lakes. And this would also guarantee no further executive bonuses are paid, following the near millions which have been paid to senior officials in recent years. We therefore face two options: to continue allowing Thames Water to slowly sink into financial ruin, or to act now to restructure this failed company and start getting it working again for the public benefit. To conclude, Mr Deputy Speaker, after years of letting Thames Water pollute our rivers, fail to perform basic functions and charge customers higher and higher bills, enough is enough. Rather than continue to let the asset strippers run Thames Water into the ground, the Liberal Democrats are clear: we cannot let this situation continue. Thames Water is no longer a functioning company, and the government has a choice: either bail them out with taxpayer money or listen to our calls to put them into special administration to then be reformed into a company for the public benefit. After years of Conservative ministers refusing to take action, this vital step is needed to safeguard customers, steady the ship, and get our country's largest water company functioning again. Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker.
Minister, Mark Spencer.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker, and can I first of all congratulate the Honourable Lady on securing this debate, and I'm delighted to respond on behalf of the Government. Water is what makes life possible on our planet. It is essential for our health, our well-being, as well as our economy, including the production of food and, of course, clean energy. I want to make it clear from the outset that no matter the individual circumstances of their water or their wastewater company, the public will always continue to receive these vital services, and the Government is committed to ensuring that water companies are delivering the performance and the environmental outcomes bill payers expect and deserve. Our plan for water will transform our management of the water system, delivering cleaner water for nature and for people, as well as securing plentiful supply. The plan is delivering more investment, stronger regulation and tougher enforcement, with water companies investing £7.1 billion in environmental improvements between 2020 and 2025, and an estimated £60 million in capital investment by 2050 to meet storm overflow reduction plan targets. Now, I want to reassure the House that the Government is prepared for a range of scenarios across all of our regulated industries, including across all water companies, as any government should be. Government's key priority is the ongoing provision of water and wastewater services, and there are plans in place to ensure that there will be no disruption to customers' water or wastewater services, and that any incidents which may occur will continue to be quickly addressed, no matter the financial situation of one's water or wastewater company. Now, regarding contingency plans as they are specifically relate to Thames Water, as noted to the House previously, Ofwat monitors the financial position of all water companies, including Thames Water, and takes action when water companies and their investors need to strengthen their long-term financial resilience. However, it's important to make clear that it is for the company and its investors to manage the company's financial resilience within the context of its licence and broader statutory obligations. The Government is confident that Ofwat, as the economic regulator of the water industry, is working closely with any water company, including Thames Water, ensuring that action is taken when financial resilience needs to be improved. Although there are a wide range of options available to water companies, such as the injection of new equity when they are required to strengthen their financial resilience, I know that both Parliament and the public will want reassurance that should the worst happen regarding any water company, water and wastewater services will continue to be provided. So should a water company become insolvent, when they are unable to pay their debts or when their liabilities are greater than their assets, or when a company is in such serious breach of their principal statutory duties, an enforcement order, the water company in question would enter special administration following a court application. Now, should a special administration order ever be needed for any water company, the statutory purpose of the order would be to ensure that the company continues to operate and that customers continue to receive their water and wastewater services. The existence of the water industry special administration regime is not a secret. It is set out in statute. And there is a similar regime in place for other regulated sectors such as banking and energy. These powers were agreed by Parliament over 30 years ago and within the Water Industry Act of 1991. So I hope the existence of that water industry special administration regime will provide reassurance that no matter the circumstances of their water or wastewater company, customers will continue to receive these vital public services. Of course, I give way to that.
I'm grateful to the Minister for giving way. He says it's not a secret that these regulations exist. What is a secret currently is Operation Timber, which, as I understand, is a contingency plan in the event that Thames Water should be unable to operate. I wonder if he could say a little bit more about that.
So I don't want to get drawn into specific cases of specific companies because there are, of course, market sensitivities around private companies, but it is clear that those regulations exist for all of those bodies which provide us with energy, with banking, with water services, all of those vital services that our constituents would expect to not fall over. The government does have a plan to help and support those vital sectors in moments of distress. So, to conclude, the government's priority is the ongoing provision of water and wastewater services. And I hope, of course, I'll give way to the Honourable Gentleman from Reading.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker. I'm very grateful to the Minister for giving way. Could he advise me on the course of action where a water company appears to be not offering compensation when there's been an interruption in supply? And would he perhaps write to me on this matter? Because I have a large number of constituents, several hundred people who've had an interruption to supply recently. I have inquired with Thames Water as to whether they would pay compensation. We've not yet had a reply, as I understand it, certainly as far as I know today. This is some weeks ago, and we are in some distress about this matter. Many residents were affected for 2 days. They were unable to have showers or do washing and other domestic tasks.
So, of course, I'm aware of the distress that being without water would cause to his residents, and of course I will write to him formally setting out what he can do. So I hope I've been able to reassure the House that Ofwat continues to work closely with water companies and their investors, where it has been determined that financial resilience needs to be strengthened and that there are a wide range of options available to all water companies when it comes to strengthening this resilience. So finally, I hope by highlighting the existence of the water industry special administration regime, I provided reassurance that the government has a transparent plan and is prepared for all eventualities when it comes to the provision of our vital public services. Thank you, Mr Deputy.
The question is that this House to stand adjourned. As many of that opinion say aye. Aye. Contrary, no. The ayes have it. Order, order.
Has ended. The The proceeding has ended. 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 The proceeding has ended.